Aloha, everyone. Michelle Melendez with blossominnerwellness.com and standtogetherhawaii.com. And last Sunday, I did a Zoom call with locals here on the Big Island to talk about the general plan and see how we can recommend changes to it. Because right now, the Big Island General Plan 2045 is in the Windward Planning Commission. They are doing recommendations per they're listening to us, you guys, per our suggestions, because we did testimony. The next meeting for the Big Island General Plan is November 21st. So please, if you're watching this, if you live on the island, you can also send in an email. I'll have that in the description. If you're on the Kona side, and even if you're not, drive to the Kona side, because the meeting is at the Leeward Planning Commission on November 21st at 9:30 p.m. and we need as many people as possible to be there to talk about the recommendations for this plan. So if you don't live on Big Island, I still highly recommend that you watch this video, because you have a general plan, and how you find your general plan is you put in your town or your state and you put in general plan afterwards. So it would be Big Island General Plan. That's what gets us to the general plan. And I'm going to actually show it to you guys, because I do want to I do want to share with you the definition of stakeholder. Well, let me stop screen real quick. There's a few things that I want to share in this general plan, and the first one is the definition of stakeholder, because stakeholder was written in this general plan about 47 times, and now it's written 26 times. And I just find it very interesting. I don't know when it changed, but it definitely has changed. And let me put in stakeholder here so I can just look this definition up for everybody, because it is oh, there it is. It's something that really should concern all of us. So let me do screen share. Stakeholder is any individual, group, or organization that has an interest or concern in a particular project, decision, or activity and can be affected by its outcomes. Stakeholders can include a wide range of entities such as employees, customers, suppliers, investors, government agencies, community members. The community members are supposed to be farmers and homeowners, and non-governmental organizations. They can influence or be influenced by the objectives, policies, and performance of an organization or project. This means a stakeholder can be anybody in the entire world, you guys. It doesn't say Big Island investors, Big Island community members, Big Island, I'm just like, this word, the definition of stakeholder literally means anybody in the entire world that has any interest in what's going on Big Island can become a stakeholder. So I'm going to be creating a new definition for the word stakeholder, and also my comment is going to say change the word stakeholder, because here is the reason, another reason why we don't like this word. And this is here. This is from the Big Smoke. Klaus Schwab, the man who connects the dots. Creator of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab is a subscriber to the stakeholder theory, where every company is responsible for the society around them. So this stakeholder, we're supposed to believe that the word stakeholder, yeah, community members, that's homeowners and farmers, and it's all good. But in this general plan, there's so many places where it says we're going to collaborate with government and non-governmental agencies, profit and non-profit organizations, and stakeholders, which literally means everybody in the entire world. So this is concerning. Here's another thing that concerns me, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And then I'm also going to share some comments that our members that were on the meeting on Sunday had shared with me, which is very, very interesting. So I'm going to go to stakeholder, this number 7. Oh, wait a minute here. Stakeholder matches. Hold on one second. Okay, I found it. So check this out in our general plan, Big Island General Plan, 30D, under actions. collaborate with government, private, and nonprofit organizations, communities, and other stakeholders. This is so many. Look at this. It's up here in 30C. It's in 30F. It's everywhere. To seek funding, identify and remove 30D, remove regulatory barriers to complete and improve the island's fiber optic loop in an environmentally and economically appropriate manner. That's about 5G. That's about 5G. And they literally state they want to remove remove regulatory barriers. Why are regulatory barriers there? To keep people safe. So it's like here, it's already in our general plan of what they're stating. And I want to go again to our general plan. And then again, I will be going to our people that are 8, 9, 10. Partner with government, private, and nonprofit agencies and other stakeholders to initiate joint agreements for funding, management, and maintenance for recreation, shared use spaces, hardened shelters, and public access priorities. So this is, well, there was a reason why to initiate joint agreements, for funding, management, and maintenance. You know, when they say government, private, and nonprofit agencies and stakeholders to initiate joint agreements for funding, management, and maintenance, that management, it says a lot of rules and regulations. I'm always looking about rules and regulations. How much more do they want to regulate us? How much more do they want to give us rules that we can and cannot do? And that stakeholder is very concerning to me. This is number, I want to go to 12, which is collaborate again with government, private, nonprofit agencies, communities, and other stakeholders to establish a one-stop community resource to, okay, that's not the one that I wanted to go to. Oh, it's 17. Let me look at that one. Okay, where is it? Consolidate services. Let me find it first and then come back to you guys again. Okay, I found it, and this is very trippy, this one. This one is 35I, develop best management practices for the development and maintenance of golf courses in collaboration with government, private, and nonprofit agencies and other stakeholders. Why in the world would the government and private and nonprofit agencies and stakeholders, investors, and all of that want to use best practice management practices for the development of golf courses? What is that about? Why does the government need to get involved in a golf course? That is really weird. And it's in our general plan. And the last one I want to say with stakeholder is maintain an ongoing program of identification, designation, and acquisition, this word I'm going to use next, of areas with existing or potential recreational resources such as land with sandy beaches and other prime areas for shoreline recreation in collaboration with government, private, nonprofit agencies, and other stakeholders. In my opinion, this means maintain an ongoing program identification, designation, and acquisition of areas of potential recreation resources, that they want to create an ongoing program that shows what areas do they want to acquire. That's how I'm taking this. That's how I'm taking this. And that is very concerning. And they're going to collaborate with government and private and nonprofit agencies. That one is concerning to me. The next one I want to share is acquisition. And let me show you guys this one. So this one is acquisition, 35A 246, provide funding for planning and, oh wait, that's not the first one I wanted to do. Adopt a land acquisition program for potential lease back options for the purchase of hazard prone locations. Oh, who gets to decide what's a hazard prone location? Or those with beneficial attributes for climate adaptation and mitigation. So they want to adopt a land acquisition program. That means acquiring land with potential to lease back. So they're going to acquire, they could acquire people's property and then lease it back to them. And this is disgusting. This is in the Big Island General Plan, you guys. This is very, very concerning. Another one that says acquisition is these three, but I wanted to do number 4. Lands designated for acquisition by public agencies for conservation and natural resource protection. Land designated for acquisition, you guys, so they can say, oh, we want to take your land because we're going to use it for conservation and natural resource protection, right? So instead of using it like the Apua'a, where we actually use it for communities to support each other, they're just going to use it for conservation and natural resources, protecting the natural resources. And what happens when you see the word protection, you see rights being taken away, freedoms being taken away. So it's something this is, I just stopped that. Okay, sorry. I think I'm good. Okay, good. Okay, so I accidentally pressed stop on the recording. So anyway, let me go back to, I think I did 5 and then number 5, number 6. Provide the framework of regulatory decisions, capital improvement priorities, acquisition strategies, and other pertinent government programs within the county organization, and coordinate with state and federal programs. So regulatory, acquisition, more rules and regulations right in our general plan. Very, very clear, I think. Well, actually clear and not clear. Clear and not clear, because this whole general plan is super vague. They're not saying we're going to, acquire your land, but that's literally what it says to me. And I'm not, someone who's a general plan connoisseur and really understanding this, but just a layman's term, I'm looking at these words freaking out. So let me show you one other thing on the general plan, and then I do want to get to the comments of the public for the Big Island people who joined me in the meeting on Sunday. Reduce vehicle miles this is page 116. Reduce vehicle miles traveled. First, we have a constitutional right. We have a constitutional right to travel. They can't just reduce vehicle miles traveled. It should say provide alternative modes of transportation. Provide alternative modes of transportation. Don't tell me you're going to reduce my vehicle miles traveled, because let me show you. Let me show you what is going on in the world with reduced vehicle miles traveled. Dad fined for driving outside his own house after road turned into school street. And this is Abdul Noor Muhammad was given 5 fines for using the road during restricted hours as part of the school streets zone, which aims to curb vehicle use. So this could be coming to the Big Island, reducing people's ability to travel. He was fined, and let's see, down here it says he told me, I don't understand what's going on. They're sending fines to someone who lives in the zone. Surely they can see that that isn't right if we're supposed to be exempt. So he's supposed to be exempt because he lives in that area, but yet he's getting fined. So for this, except if you have a permit. And his fines ended up becoming like over $270 or something like that. And the reason why he used that road was because there was a construction, and he had to go around the construction to take his children to school. So he was taking his children to school because on this road that he didn't have a permit on, and he literally got fined because it was reduced vehicle miles traveled, you guys. They're wanting to tell us what to do. Another one I want to share is this one right here. And this is Bath man fined €270 for traveling 100 meters in clean air zone. So clean air zone, here we go. Here's the climate change, everybody. A Bath man has spoken out about his experience as he was fined $273 for a short trip in the clean air zone. So he was forced into the zone by road workers, and literally he got fined. First, it was $9 charge. I'm sorry. That's if you're eligible and you have a permit. You have to get a permit, and it's $9 if you are going to go through that zone. A daily charge of $9. Can you imagine that? And where is this happening? This is in Bath, so that is in Europe. In the end, I had to pay it because I didn't want the bailiffs to turn up at his door. So here's ours. Reduced vehicle miles traveled. What are they going to put in place here on Big Island? Are you only going to be able to travel to Hilo or Kona, certain times during the month or a certain number of times? I come here a lot because I love to paddle on this side, but I want to go now to some of the conversations we had when we were together, the people who joined me on Sunday for our meeting about this. And I just want to say that, let me close that off, that we have, again, an opportunity to speak about this. So if you're on Big Island or you love the islands, I'm going to leave the link in the description for testimony. November 21st, mark your calendar, the Leeward Planning Commission here in Kona. We can be there live and in person, and I really highly recommend that you be there or on Zoom and share your testimony, because that's the option we have. This next part, Melissa is talking about OSCER, and I'm going to let her explain what that means, because what this is in our general plan, and I'll show you the page when she's talking about it, is literally they want to create an umbrella company called OSCER, and it's an abbreviation, and she'll share what that means, that takes out our ability to give testimony about what's coming up for the Big Island. It's quite scary. This is totally a communistic bill, a communist general plan, in my opinion. So let me just share what she has to share here. Oh, there we go.
Talk about one is OSCER, and the other is a proposal that I'm going to present to all of you here about how to proceed. OSCER, for those who don't know, I'm just going to go ahead and read it verbatim from the general plan. In quotes, this is going to require all county departments to collaborate with the County Office of Sustainability, Climate Equity, and Resilience, OSCER, as the lead agency, okay, to ensure the integration of the county's goals of sustainability, climate resilience, and equity into all county operations. I want you to really hear that word, all.
So I want to show it to you guys because it's on page 188, and this is what she's talking about. 87, 88. Require all county, it's 40.8. Require all county department to collaborate with the County Office of Sustainability, Climate Equity, and Resilience, that's OSCER, as the lead agency to ensure the integration of the county's goals of sustainability, climate resilience, and equity in all county operations and planning initiatives. So that's what she's talking about, and I'm gonna just let her finish it up.
All county operations and planning initiatives. Now, from my vantage point, that translates as the rendering the agencies that are in place at this moment null and void regarding the power that we have given any representatives to do any frickin' thing. So they are now beholden, again, indirectly to UN directives, unelected officials. They're beholden to another. This is like a KP plan. This is like the little offshoot of the UN growing here in our county, okay? And for us to be beholden in any way, shape, or form, or those we quote unquote choose to represent our interests, to be beholden to that is beyond absurd and suicidal. So
there's no checks and balances. There would be no checks and balances. There would be no testimony. Our testimony would be the same.
Ultimately, no. They would have the final say. So then of all of the issues, and I have gone through the water issues, there's only 2 sentences that mention Kanakamali. I mean, come on. There's so many things wrong with this thing. It's not even funny. And I can read that list, but what it came down to me as a person who is trying to zero in on the tap root. How do we stop cutting off all these branches that are growing back and get to the tap root? So this is why I'm going to concentrate my next testimony and parts of the affidavit that I'm forming on OSCER. What on earth is going on with this aspect? And Heather Kimball, I have to say,
So she talks about how Heather Kimball is a part of that. But I want to go on to the next part. And again, I just want to say, again, join standtogetherhawaii.com, okay? If you're on Big Island, if you want to support us keeping our freedoms, please join standtogetherhawaii.com. And because we are taking a stand against this, and we can do it. The more people that we have, the stronger we are. So I want to go to the next part, which is Calais. She's also, Melissa does say that she wants to do a cease and desist around this whole plan, which I completely agree with. And I'm going to 4922 because I want to go to Calais. And let me make sure that we have a sound here. So weird. I wish they would just let me keep that on.
Sure, yeah. Michelle, just a heads up, but that section I was telling you about, chapter 2, collaborative biocultural stewardship, that's page 37. So in that entire chapter, it's all about conservation. So I found the answer.
Okay.
Awesome.
Conservation.
And what is your comment on that? What is your comment on that? Because you've read
my comment on that is that they what they're trying to do with the plan is use the Kanaka Maoli, the Hawaiians. I don't know how to identify us anymore. But like our cultural practices, they're trying to utilize that to make people feel good about the word conservation.
Yeah, you see it. You see it.
Yeah.
Not the whole chapter. That's how the UN does anything, right? They're going to prompt you something, or they're going to say to you, oh, your Hawaiian-ness is so great. Your practices we need to respect. It's throughout this entire chapter, respect, blah, blah, blah. And we know it is not the truth. It's false.
Thank you, Calais.
So in that chapter, I'm gonna go through it. Like I told you, Michelle, I volunteered to do that chapter because I'm Kanaka Mountain.
Yeah.
I'm going to call them out.
Sweet. That's what we need to do. So Amanda, that sounds great. So Amanda said, so much land is going to be turned into conservation controlled by the state and the Natural Conservancy federal, rather than the current designation of public lands, which is controlled by us as a local community. Important agricultural lands is going to be bought by the state using land acquisition program. So I'm going to look up that because that's what I was talking about earlier, was that land acquisition. And I do want to go into Amanda because she has some really important things to share. And
so I can send that to you. And we're talking about the General Plan 2045. So this is the final draft that we're talking about. So the one before that kind of just gives you a clue. I mean, it even talked about crop sharing and any ag lands that were under 30 acres. So small farms are considered non-sustainable. So you'd have to pool with your neighbors to build an agricultural area that's 30 acres or more. And we all know, I mean, you know, if you're an organic farmer, you're out there working that land. So if you have more than, you know, like if you have any more than 5 acres, that's non-sustainable in my opinion. If you have 30 acres, what they're doing is Monsanto style stuff where they're they're spraying everything, because 30 acres is a lot to take care of. So they're just using that word sustainable development is kind of like an icing on turd. You know, yeah, it sounds nice because we all want clean water, we all want food, we all want ag lands and stuff, but then they're using that word to like pull a heartstring so that they can control our natural resources and everything, you know, to that extent. So that the underlying turd is the government bureaucracy that they use that word for. So that's draft in 2019 had specifics. It talked about crop sharing. It talked about land acquisition. It's called important ag lands. So when Linda Lingle was the governor, she created something that was called for all the counties to specify what important ag lands are, which are different from just regular ag lands. And that is to be earmarked for the land acquisition program. What's in this general plan 2045 draft, it talks about creating a land acquisition program for the county. So that's kind of scary because anyway, our farm,
which has the stakeholder definition. So if you redefine this, what is the stakeholder, then you would actually be able to clarify that point and not have it in that very dangerous category that it lingers in. You know, I mean,
does everybody know? Do you people know about the Great Taking?
Yes.
You know what that is?
Yeah, I don't want to get into that because that is like, I think most people, if we all know that this is not normal. This is not a free country anymore. I mean, yes, Great Taking. Roger, where can they find that?
Was it ever a free country?
Yeah, look on YouTube and see the 3-minute trailer to get a sense of how traditional ownership has been changed in all 50 states to conditional ownership, which is available for confiscation when the UN or somebody declares an emergency, whether it's real or false.
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
Land, your car.
Yeah, these buffer zones that they mentioned in the general plan it's not good either. I mean, it doesn't allow for growth and expansion, and housing is already a crisis here, you know, and if they're going to put more in conservation, that's going to be less out there. Like, we're going to be priced out. I mean, the upcoming generations, because this is 20 years down the line.
Yeah.
We need to be thinking about our kids. Like, are they going to be able to be private property owners? Apparently not, is the plan in this general plan. So they're just trying to make, and they're not looking at growth and expansion. So there's Kona, and there's Hilo and Waimea, you know, but then everything else in between is you have buffer zone, and they're trying to keep it real.
Conservation and concentration are very similar words.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to do is the concentration camp model by using the exterior. It's just so good. And so for the environment and for you and everyone. So we really are, you know, those of us like yourselves can see very clearly the deception in the reframing of these words. But you know, I have to just put it to this group of people. Should we just put a cease and desist on any movement of this plan, or should we go in and try to work with these people point by point by point, which is going to take
I think both. I'm always into both. I'm always into do it all.
Right. Try one and then go for the next.
So yeah. Steve, are you on? Is that okay?
That's
Great.
me. Yes.
So I mentioned your ag village earlier, but do you want to say a little bit about it? I didn't show the map. It's great. Go ahead and yeah, it's
Okay.
really.
Thank you. I apologize for running a little late. You know, this sounds like music to my ears. You know, I've been super frustrated as a landowner and someone that has brought forward a vision, and just the amount of resistance I've run into, both in the government and also in the community. I'll give you, I think one of the big issues has been the community development plan. You know, I sat through almost 60 meetings over a course of 6 years, and basically, for example, I own a property in Hakalau on the ocean. It's zoned industrial. It's been zoned since the 1870s. Now, you might question whether that's, antiquated zoning or not, but the fact is that it has been zoned, industrial. Less than 1% of the land on the island is industrial. The community approached me and said, we want to buy the land. We want to take the land to make it a park. And I said, well, look, here's what I have invested in it. The Valerie Poindexter, the council member, basically said, well, we're going to go forward with a punk acquisition. So they gave me a number that was about a third of what I actually had invested in the property. And I said, I respectfully decline. And she proceeded to call me an F and something, and slam the phone in my ear. And then the community development plan tried to take the property, take it from industrial to open space. And I fought tooth and nail. It literally would have been a taking. Finally, the planning department came to their senses and left it the way it is. Right now, it's a mix of residential and industrial. Same thing happened with this property in Papaico. I've owned it since 2000. It's in the LUPAG, the long-term general plan, land use maps. It's been for 60 years designated as urban expansion. Why? Because it has wastewater, it has power, it has a school, a water system, a highway system. It has surrounding urban lands. It's for every reason you can think of. Is why they've designated it as a place to expand in the future. Various times during those community development meetings, I heard comments like, I don't want to see any more housing on the Mackay side of the highway. So that really was kind of the underlying, in my opinion, kind of the underlying issue, which is that there was just a kind of a no growth. Smart growth basically envisions you having a stakeholders that have varying opinions. So you have developers, you have preservationists or conservationists. But I feel like the CDP was was really stacked against me and had a lot of influence. It has a lot of influence in this plan. So yeah, so I'm hopeful, but I have to tell you that they took the LUPAG from entirely low density urban to important agricultural lands. So I had to fight for that to get a small, and what they have done at this point, instead of retaining the original LUPAG low density designation, they've given me a small little sliver within the 77-acre parcel, like 10 acres for urban expansion. And I just think that's wrong, right? So especially, I think really moving forward, so I have come up with this concept, an agri-village concept, and less than half the land will be utilized for the urban footprint. The rest of the land's open for individual, garden plots, trails, creating a neighborhood where very much like you saw back in the day, a blast in the past. It goes all the way back to the Ahufa'a model of where there's food being exchanged and grown. People talk about affordable housing. What about affordable food? So this is an agri-village, a true working agri-village model, and I think it's it's very exciting. But right now, I'm up against this general plan, which is just essentially cut off one of my arms, or one of my legs.
Yeah, I agree. That's what we're all here for. So I appreciate that, and I have his definition and the outline of what an ag village is. So I do want to add that to our general plan PDF. I think that they're listening to us because I'm looking in this plan and some of the things that I was concerned with, I don't see anymore. So I want to just do a stop scare. Steve's plan is fantastic. And if you please join standtogetherhawaii.com, because I am going to be putting out an email that shows what we want to change in the general plan and what we want to recommend. And we want to recommend this ag village, because can you imagine a community, a neighborhood that instead of people having lawns, they're actually growing food for each other. And it's something that we can come together with, because on Big Island, we have 90%, if not more than that. I even was told it was 99% of our food comes from the ships that come in. And if the ships stop coming, we have, I think, about 5 days before people start freaking out about where their next meal is going to be coming from. And Hawaii used to be totally self-sustainable, with food growing everywhere, all the way from the mountain, all the way down to the ocean. People would support each other, and then the different climates would grow different types of food.
So that's what Steve's Ag Village is all about, and it's fantastic. So please join standtogetherhawaii.com so you can get the email that will tell you what it is that we think needs to be changed. And if you have something that you've looked at the general plan and you're just like, Michelle, this part needs to be changed, let me know. Because right now, this is our chance, you guys. We have about 5 months to get this to get these recommendations in, and then Melissa, we might be doing a cease and desist on this whole plan because it will be changing the way Big Island people live. Not only that, but there are some homeowners that have received a letter from the planning department stating that their land is going to be rezoned, not rezoned, that their land use is going to be changed from residential to recreation, which opens the door to rezone that property. But also, if that goes through and the land use does change from residential to recreation, that person's property value will drop like a rock when they go to sell it or when they go to will it to their family. So we can stop that by stopping this general plan and or changing it the way that we want it. Because I mean, a planning department should not just go to people's, should not have the right to go to a homeowner and say, hey, we're going to drop your property value. And sorry, it's a nice letter. Oh yeah, you know, we're just gonna be changing your land use to recreation now and not residential anymore, and that's gonna drop your property value. But that's just in our general plan. No, that's not Pono. Pono means okay. It's not okay. You can't do that to anybody on Big Island who's been, you know, who has property here. You just can't send them a letter because you think it's right in the plan. It's not right. It's not okay. So, okay, Big Island General Plan. The last thing I want to share is what Gary shared. And then we're going to do a prayer because you guys know I'm all about praying right now. And let's see, 103. Oh, wait, Steve wanted to talk a little bit more about something else that was good. And let's just do this a little bit. Here we go.
One more thing. I think it's important to, that we're all aware of the timeline of when this thing is going to be moving through. There's you know, I think it's less than 6 months before it hits the county council.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to know what those benchmarks are, and so everybody's really, you know, for this group to really be tuned into these next steps. So
very true. And then Calais, I almost forgot. I wanted Calais. She actually is talking about the water. There's so many things in this general plan about the water, and here's what she says. What people need to understand: they want to regulate our water, but check this out.
Just for people to kind of think about this and bear in mind or do research on the water, and that is when you read through these sections, they are not talking anything, and probably for good reason, but on this island, I don't know if anybody else knows, but you have 5 water aquifers on this island. I don't know if Luna knows that, if he's aware, because he's Kanaka Maoli, and the largest is Mauna Kea. And it's the most water that scientists have already said that one water aquifer can supply water for the entire Hawaiian Islands and the state of California for eternity. And there's a reason for that. It's because of the Mauna. So now when they start talking about water and water conservation and all this kind of stuff, we have to understand 5 water aquifers. And if you read some of this stuff, it's going to talk to you about when they like drinking water, they're talking about water commitments have been assigned to parcels that are not being developed or lack development potential. So we have to understand what we have on this island and what they're putting in the plan that doesn't make sense for what we have on this island. And that's the reason why they wanted to put the TMT on Mauna Kea. And that's because it's a facade, because you don't need a strong, powerful telescope. That TMT is old, so they wanted to put it there. It's a facade where you would have them mining the water from Mauna Kea because it's eternal.
So I wanted to share that. That is because they have a whole section on water, a whole section. And one other thing that they want to do is they want to regulate people's water catchment.
there's a lot of people here on the island that are off grid and they have water catchment and they actually want to regulate it. They're saying, oh, because we want to keep you guys healthy and safe and make sure there's no microorganisms that are in the water that are going to be harmful. It's like always about protecting you, and that is going to hinder people's use of water catchment, and it's going to add in, I believe it's going to add in more fines and more regulations that people just don't want here on Big Island. That's not how we live. That's not our game plan here. Okay, so one last thing, and then we're going to pray, and we're going to call it good, because I do believe that that things are going to work out for us, but it is going to take all of us, you know, to do our kuleana, to step up for what it is we believe in, and speak our truth. So let me make sure that the sound is on. Sometimes the sound thing turns off. Hope it's on again. Hope you guys got all that. Okay.
Michelle,
Yeah.
Michelle, I just want to thank you for all the work you do and everybody. And I think, you know, in looking around the world, a lot of people are in exactly the same situation that we're in. It really is, we're going to have to double down on our efforts to come together, figure out who we are, and speak up with one voice, because we're at a transition point, and it's governments all over the world that are scraping their fingernails up the wall to maintain their own.
They really are.
They are, and because they're obsolete, and they're taking power to give themselves a reason to exist. I don't think they're malicious. We've got to get them to change to do the work that we need them to do. We need to change their job description, and that's only going to come in a democracy if we double down on our efforts to all work as hard as Michelle is working on all of our behalfs.
So I just wanted to share that, because he talks about this is happening everywhere, and it is, and it's because the government is, a lot of the systems are obsolete. We don't need them anymore, but it is up to us to show them what it is we do need and what it is we do want. You know, all these rules and regulations, that drives me batty, because I'm like, I told the county council chair, I said, you have no right to tell us what to do with our property. And she said it's the law, sue us. And I don't have standing. I was actually going to be looking into taking her to court because of this, but I don't have standing right now. That's, the planning department isn't on any property that I own, and so that is that's, anyway, if somebody does, there's a lot of people who do have standing, and somebody does want help with that, I would be happy to help with that. So if, again, join standtogetherhawaii.com, because we have to speak out against our general plan, and we have to show them what it is we want to change in it, or just make the whole thing a cease and desist order from what they want to put in place. All right. Great Spirit, infinite intelligence of all things, you're running our hearts right now. You're beating our hearts and you're breathing our bodies. You're running the tides in the ocean and moving the sun across the sky. And Great Spirit, we just give it to you. We just follow our intuition, our guided intuition. It's not a mistake that people are still watching this video, who are still watching. It's not a mistake that people have signed up for standtogetherhawaii.com. It's not a mistake that we're all coming together to be in one canoe, paddling together with one vision, that this world can be a better place for ourselves right now in this present moment, and for our future generations. And Great Spirit, we just know that you are guiding all those people who do have more power in the governmental agencies, that they do the right thing. And that anybody who does not value human life, who does not value freedom, who does not value people's private property, that they are bound from doing any more harm or stepping forward in any action that hinders people's rights. We just know, Great Spirit, that you are totally guiding all of our steps and all of our actions. And we give so much gratitude to watch as things unfold for the betterment of humanity, for the betterment of Big Island. We know that that is done, Great Spirit. We give so much gratitude to the guides and angels, legions and legions of angels that are always with us, protecting us and supporting us in all that we do. And we know it is done, and so it is. Sending you and your ohana so much aloha from the Big Island.